Hey guys, talking about really the state of college football, how it's at now. What's been going on these past few weeks? And yeah, it's been pretty obvious how the state of college football has been, and it's changing fast, and people are starting to see what I meant by the transfer portal going full nuclear after the championship, the chaos that also ensues with the coachings and the staff members. It's I figured this would happen, especially with the bracket, with the 12-team bracket being put into place, but not. I didn't know it was going to be quite to the craziness that things were going to happen. I had no idea really how this was going to play out, and it's been very chaotic. So I think we'll start out with um, soon as Nick Saban announced his retirement, there was the hunt for coaching new head coach. I know there was talks about Dan Lanning. There was thing about Dan Lanning being in Tuscaloosa, which that was not true. He never left Eugene, never left his home. Um, there was also talks about that he was talked to. People are saying, this was, from what I know from my source, that's pretty darn good. Um, because the person knows Dan Lanning decent amount. Never got a call, never any of that stuff, to be honest. 100%. Um, he never, even if he got that call, I don't think he was going to stay at Oregon no matter what. He have, and you got to think of it this way: he's got a whole bunch of really good top tier transfers, like number one QB and etc. etc. Really good running back, um, and wide receivers coming in. A lot of guys returning. There's also the payment part, and that's really what Alabama says that they never even talked to him about, which was because of the buyout. Because not only are they having to pay the school, they're having to pay Nike as well. So that was never the case with Dan Lanning. So what did it come down to? Mike Norvell from Florida State, who is a great coach. Um, but boy, that would have been one heck of a story, and I'm sure they probably somewhat thought about it a little bit. I don't think it would have mattered to them thinking about it, but because Alabama's here to win, they're trying to get the best coach that's the best fit. But boy, that would have been one heck of a story if Florida State loses their head coach, who really would never want to really leave. So the choice was really going to be like Kalen DeBoer, or are we going to get that Texas head coach? Are they going to go with Lane Kiffin, who left Alabama on some pretty bad terms? And they end up going with Kalen DeBoer. So Kalen DeBoer now is bringing in his a lot of his staff is going to be going in. They're building up new staff. So, and then what's Washington going to do? Well, Washington hires Arizona's head coach. Arizona's head coach says, I want to bring all my guys over there. Now, what's going to happen to Arizona? Now they're in that mess, and it gets worse and worse and worse. First, it's Alabama. They get Washington's head coach. Then they might lose some other guys from the staff. Okay. Washington goes in. Now they've kicked out those other staff members that were still there. and are going to do Arizona's. Now, Arizona has no staff. So this is very chaotic, very chaotic. I do think, however, that this is going to become the norm. This is. There on off seasons, there's going to be a lot, and I mean a lot of chaos in the off seasons like this. This is going to become the norm. What I think is funny, and I think it's pretty hilarious how this has happened, is, looking back at the whole Florida State being upset, saying that they're snubbed, they're a Power 5 team, why are we not in? Well, part of the problem is there's 4 spots and there was only 5, there were 5 Power 5 teams, 5. So, now, with the Pac-12 out, wouldn't that 14 bracket work? And I think it actually would work pretty well. But everybody was upset, blah blah blah, this and that, and all of these changes that are happening, there's a lot of changes. I don't think there's going to be teams, players, coaches who even understand this completely, because it is just, there's so many changes happening with just the rules. There's going to be some changes to the rules, some of the ways the refs call games. There's going to be changes to the brackets, how you seed. There's going to be changes to how players are coached, how the NIL is, how there's just so many changes. It's just non-stop, and I don't think it's going to quite stop. I think this is a snowball effect that it's going to keep going and going till next season starts. So, one of the problems, and I'm noticing this, and this is why this is head coach thing is a whole snowball effect. Because they have this rule that if your head coach leaves, you have 30 days to then announce if you're going to be in the transfer portal. So what has happened? Alabama head coach leaves. Their guys are now allowed in the transfer portal for 30 days to announce they're in the transfer portal. Then Washington has now lost their head coach because Alabama got him 30 days transfer portal. Arizona now has lost their head coach, 30 days transfer portal. What if Arizona gets another team, 30 days transfer portal? It continues, and this is going to make the off season, and I don't think many people thought of this, but I think NCAA thought about this. It's going to make the off season more exciting, and I think it is. It's going to be interesting to see if the snowball stops. So yeah, there's a lot of issues I see with college football going on, a lot of changes, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with all this. Next season is going to be very interesting and very, very different. I think you're going to see teams that you were expecting to do well: Michigan, Washington, Ohio State, Alabama. You're going to see teams that you expect to do well, that they're able to adapt and change pretty quickly and do well. And you're going to see other teams that just, they cannot. And a lot of it is money. A lot of it is the structure. And I think it's definitely, it's going to bring some issues and some positives to light. And I think it's going to be very interesting seeing how this all plays through. But that's what I see. That's how I feel about it. I think this is just for me. I'm just sitting back and watching. It's interesting. My team, Oregon State, is kind of in a weird spot too, and same with Washington State. And it's just just there's nothing to do. They just sit back and watch. At this point, Oregon State doesn't need to scramble for anything. Same with Washington State. I mean, if Florida State leaves, maybe there's an opening for a team like Washington State or Oregon State. Um, are those teams able to be picked up from the ACC to Pac 12? I doubt that. But there's so many crazy things happening. It's interesting. And with the, like, for Oregon State, with the court dates, or the court hearings, which they won, they still have a good amount of money to put into building this new conference or rebuilding this conference, whatever they so choose. So it'll be interesting. Anyways, this is just the video that I really wanted to make because it just talks about college football landscape as a whole. And I think that it is going to be a lot more exciting as time goes on to see how things are going. It's been exciting already, but there's going to be a lot more moving parts happening. So, anyways, have a great day.